Here in Santa Clara, California, the 49ers coming off the bye week to take on the Saints, who have turned their season around. Mostly sunny in the 70s. Common there is Sean Payton at age 52, born in San Mateo, California, given first name Patrick, but he's gone by Sean all of his life. Patrick Payton would sound very different, wouldn't it?
Would sound different.
And there is Charles Edward Kelly, otherwise known as Chip Kelly, in his first year as the 49er head coach in San Francisco. Won their opener against the division rival Rams, but have tumbled since, getting ready to kick off week 9. Let's head down to the field and check in with Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, it's going to be a busy day for both Mark Ingram and Tim Hightower. Head coach Sean Payton had a sit-down meeting with Ingram about his fumbling issues. Today, he tells me he plans to alternate using Hightower and Ingram. Now, this is a spot that Hightower has earned. 4 NFL teams, an experimental league team. He has grounded out to get this opportunity. Hightower tells me he's so grateful. His focus is on not letting this team down, given the opportunity they're affording him today, Chris.
All right, thank you very much. 49ers won the toss and deferred, so Bradley Pinion, the punter, will be kicking off. He rotates with the veteran Phil Dawson, who kicks field goals, and you see the Saints have in the backfield couple of returners. Tim Hightower, a bit of a change because Marcus Murphy is inactive, and so is Tommy Lee Lewis, and Travaris Cadet, also the third running back today, back to return. He'll be behind Hightower and Mark Ingram. The Saints, 6 of their 7 games have been decided by one score this year, and week 9 underway with the Saints and 49ers. From just inside his own goal line, Cadet stopped short of the 20-yard line. Always a good win for the team kicking off when you keep the returning team from getting past the 20. Well, Drew Brees, most accurate passer in NFL history, completing over 66% of his passes, but his career mark is at that. He's 70% so far this season.
He's been fantastic. There's just no other way around it. You watch what he does week in and week out. He's just so consistent no matter who he's throwing the ball to. But I got to watch for this balance. This 49ers defense has been putrid against the run. Let's see if Drew Brees is needed, or if they just turn around and hand this ball off to Hightower and Ingram all day long.
And it is Tim Hightower, and against the worst rushing defense, allowing 185 yards on the ground, are the San Francisco 49ers. Ahmad Brooks, when you talk about the great career of Drew Brees over the year, Brooks 5.5 career sacks of Brees. That's the most that anybody's had who's active on Brees.
And he's been fantastic on the edge versus this team. But as I look at this defense, it's got to be about Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner in the middle. They've been gashed at times this year in the run. They're going to have a big day today.
12 men on the field with the snap intimate defense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So after they picked up 3 on the run, a penalty here, and it'll back the Saints up. And it's now second down 2 as they call. I'm sorry, it pushed the Saints forward. And so now it's second down and 2 as Cooks is in motion here. And Hightower gets the carry, and Hightower gets a first down.
You know, you get these substitution errors on the 49ers defense. Well, they're playing with a bunch of new bodies. Got injuries in the secondary. Rashard Robinson is not playing today.
Aaron Lynch is out as well.
Aaron Lynch, who got his second start of the year last week, is not playing. Eli Harold is in, so it's not uncommon to see a defense struggle when you've had so many guys interchanging positions.
Drew Brees, his first pass of the day for Brandon Cooks. Down the sideline, he caught it, and there's a flag.
Offense, number 10. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
A push-off called on the Saints receiver.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks down the field working on Bethea, and Bethea really doesn't turn around and look for the ball, but clearly 2 hands to the chest. That is pass interference. And now you're backed up 1st and 20 if you're the New Orleans Saints. And Drew Brees is hates being behind the sticks, and the 49ers have to take advantage of this right now. They got a fortuitous penalty. See if they can keep them in an off-schedule situation here to start this game.
Cadet comes in, splits out as a receiver. John Kuhn, the fullback, bottom of your screen is a receiver. And Brees hesitates, throws, and incomplete. Trying to go to Willie Snead.
I think San Francisco has to try to make Drew Brees uncomfortable in the pocket. Now, how they do that, we'll see. They've been somewhat lax in terms of being aggressive on defense. Haven't seen a lot of pressures. Both of their defensive or outside linebackers, I should say, tend to drop into coverage. We'll see if Jim O'Neill, the defensive coordinator here in San Francisco, tries to dial up Drew Brees and get him uncomfortable.
Second and 20. It's Hightower. And it's going to be third and long. They need to get all the way up to the 43-yard line to get a first down. Man, looks like we have a player slow to get up. Eric Armstead, who came in with a shoulder injury that had been bothering him. Mike Purcell is inactive, one of those defensive linemen, but Glenn Dorsey back up active for this team. And Armstead in some pain.
Well, he came out of the game 2 weeks ago, and you can see that's the shoulder. That left shoulder is the one that's bandaged up, has all the contraption on it, clearly in physical pain. That harness.
Well, it's interesting. Chip Kelly was asked locally during the week here about surgery needed, or whether it comes after the season or not. A reporter was told that by Armstead, but Chip Kelly said until the medical staff directs me, I'm going with what I know. And he's been playing with the shoulder injury, and now comes out to Forrest Buckner, the rookie, who's been one of their better defensive players. And Ronald Blair comes in, another rookie, fifth rounder from Appalachian State.
And Ronald Blair has some athletic ability to him. Haven't seen a lot of him this year. They keep promising us that he'll get some snaps, and with Armstead on the sideline with that injury, keep an eye on number 98 in the middle, see if he's able to cause some disruption here on third and long.
They need 17 yards for a first down, and they'll lose yardage. There's a flag down right away. Michael Thomas went down after the catch.
Outside defense, number 58. Line up in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay third down.
Well, that's a major penalty on Eli Harold, and Chip Kelly's team came into this as the least penalized team in the NFL, but he did say third down penalties are killing us.
Yeah, and we made that point the last game we had with these guys 2 weeks ago. They're crucial penalties because they come on third down, whether it's offense or defense. Just the little things that this team needs to clean up on if they're going to improve this season.
Brees from the pocket, and incomplete. He threw into an area. It looked like the ball was tipped because there were 3 49ers around the receiver he was trying to get the ball to, Willie Snead. So the Saints fail on their opening drive. A penalty put them in a hole, and the 49er defense digs in.
Well, good job by this Niners defense. The penalty helped, obviously, the pass interference on Brandon Cooks, but getting off the field early facilitates a fast start. We'll see what they can do once they get the ball on offense.
Jeremy Curley inside the 15 of San Francisco. And each of the last 3 games, the 49ers have lost a football on a fumble during a kickoff or punt return.
Sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
Working on the left shoulder. That's been the injured shoulder for Eric Armstead on the 49er defense. But the offense takes over after getting a stop. Colin Kaepernick throws to DeJuan Harris, and he's got a first down up near the 38-yard line. Kaepernick, his third start this season. The team 0-2 under him. He's yet to complete more than 50% of his passes. He turned 29 years old this week, and DeJuan Harris making his second start as a 49er. Carlos Hyde remains out.
Expect to see a lot of DeJuan Harris, not only in the run game, but in the pass game. He was effective 2 weeks ago. I imagine more of the same today.
A healthy pickup, 15, as Harris carries straight ahead and gets more up across the 46. He's been released multiple times from this 49er team, but brought back. In fact, this is his 4th NFL team, Jacksonville, Green Bay, Seattle. and playing ahead of Mike Davis, who a couple of years ago was drafted in the 4th round. John Drone also will see the football quite a bit today. Second down 3. There's the pitch. It's Quinton Patton who breaks through. Patton all the way down around the 21-yard line of the Saints.
Seen this play a number of times from the 49ers. One way to get your offense going is to run some trickery, and that's all this is. Just a little shovel pass, and there's a good block right there on the edge by McDonald, the tight end, and the rest is up to Patton, picks up some big yardage.
A 31-yard run, an impressive opening drive for the 49ers. Time for Kaepernick in the pocket. Now he's moving around for the end zone, and nothing there. Torrey Smith, the target. The Saints defense doing a good job as there is a flag down.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 32 for blocking downfield. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
And that call on the running back, DeJuan Harris. Ball spotted now at the 33-yard line.
You'll see him. He'll be down at the bottom of your screen here, coming into picture. He's blocking right there on Vaughn Bell. That's easy call for them.
Harvard, Harvard, Harvard! Race, go!
First and 20. Kaepernick keeps and goes down around the 31-yard line. He is the team's 3rd leading rusher, averaging over 8 yards a carry. In the Saint defense, you talked about the addition of Delvin Breaux. In the secondary, Craig Robertson leads the team in tackles. They've had to shuffle their linebackers all season.
They really have. Nate Stupar has been played well in there when given the opportunity, as has Craig Robertson, but I'm excited to see Delvin Breaux back on the field since week 1.
Second and 18, flag flies, a pre-snap.
Before the snap. False start. Offense. Number 89 for starting early. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
It's on Vance McDonald. What did Chip Kelly say? SIW is what they call it?
Yeah, self-inflicted wounds, and it's the little things that, you know, bad teams do, and their record indicates that they're bad, that brings them back, you know, and puts them in long yardage situations. Nobody can game plan for 2nd and 23, and that's exactly what Colin Kaepernick is faced with here.
So you hope, if you're the 49ers, to try to get it at least in field goal range. The throw is on target to Curley. And let's get a game break and check in with Carissa Thompson. Hi, Carissa.
Hi, Chris. After a Matt Prater 58-yard field goal sending this game into overtime, Matt Stafford connects with Golden Tate right here. Some fancy footwork. And in overtime, the Lions beat Minnesota. Minnesota has now dropped their last 3. Matt Stafford, 5th game-winning drive in regulation or overtime. Chris?
All right, thanks so much.
Wow, how about that?
That shakes up the NFC North quite a bit. Packers play later against Indianapolis at home. Harris can't catch it. And it is 4th down. Field goal try. It'll be a lengthy one for the veteran Phil Dawson. He's been one of the bright spots for this team. His 4th season in San Francisco after 14 with Cleveland. By the way, Cleveland lost again to Dallas. They remain winless. And this will be from 49 yards. And Phil Dawson just gets better with age, giving the 49ers the first quarter lead over the Saints.
Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, beer with your team on it.
Rondé Barber, Chris Myers back here in Santa Clara, California. Bradley Pinion ready to kick off. 49ers get on the board first after forcing the Saint offense into a punt. And kicking off to Cadet and Hightower. Wisely, he hesitated. Cadet probably should have downed it, and they start in the hole again, short of the 20-yard line. Drew Brees to lead the offense as he has so well since coming to New Orleans. Told you he was first in completion percentage all time. Passing yards only behind Manning and Favre. They're both watching. He's still playing, and third most in touchdowns. He's hoping to add to that, third all time. And he said, Rondé, this week, I'm excited about the evolution of this offense.
Oh, the evolution obviously involves him. You know, he's been good. We asked him also, has he been that good on defense, on offense? And he said, yeah, it's the expectation. We get more of that today.
Not great field position these first two starts. That pass is incomplete. Trying to go to his tight end, Kobe Fleener. He's 0 for 3. Nick Bellore on the coverage, and Eric Armstead remains out for the 49ers on defense.
Well, Eric Armstead, seeing him working his shoulder down there on the sideline, and when you're on your knee in pain because of a shoulder injury, I can't imagine that he's going to be able to get back in here. Hopefully he is, but he will be sorely missed on this defensive front.
Tim Hightower. One of the reasons Sean Payton liked Hightower, of course, the Ingram back-to-back fumbles, but he said Mark Ingram, he talked to him, he'll play. He likes Hightower because he said, I look up and instead of 2 yards, he gets 4. Instead of 6 yards, he gets 8. He's very efficient. He gets the most out of what's there and holds on to the football.
Well, the way he described it, he doesn't leave any meat on the bone, and in the run game, he's always finding a way to get forward, fall forward. He leaves him here with a 3rd and 5 situation. Let's see if the Saints can beat man-to-man coverage here.
Pass for the rookie. Michael Thomas has it at a first down.
Well, he picked out the matchup that he wanted. Keith Reeser's having to play with some of the injuries in the secondary, and he goes to Michael Thomas right in the slot, just a little sail route we used to call that, because he has all that room to the sideline for the throw. Good adjustment by the receiver. First down.
A 23-yard pickup. The Saints lead the NFL in first downs per game. They average more than 25 a game. Hightower brought down at the 45. For all the heat, I know it's early, that the 49er run defense has been under. They're holding up well early.
The linebackers have made some nice plays in the run game, and Chris, we talk about that run defense of the 49ers. Well, in the games that I've watched, it's been late in the games where they've been on the field for so long where they start to wane and give up the big chunk yardage. Early in the game, they've actually played pretty well.
Maybe the week of rest, the bye week, helping. After no game, Hightower cut down around the 47 of San Francisco. 6 straight games the 49ers have allowed a 100-yard rusher, and never in NFL history has a defense allowed 7 consecutive 100-yard rushers. Looks like we have Eli Harold slow to get up now.
Sponsored by the all-new 2017 Ford Super Duty. This is the next level. By Burger King. Now get 3 large pancakes for only 89 cents, only at Burger King. And by State Farm, here to help life go right.
Tank Carradine has come in for Eli Harold. Already 2 injured starters for San Francisco on defense. 3rd down and 1 from the 46. Brees to throw. Open, his tight end Josh Hill. Down to the 15 of San Francisco.
Well, this is classic Sean Payton, New Orleans Saints. Line up with 3 tight ends in the game. Actually, you have an offensive lineman in as a defensive end, or sorry, as a tight end, and just sneak Fleener out of Hill out of the backfield for a big completion. And the San Francisco 49ers defense, with all the injuries continuing to mount, it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep enough players on the field here in this front 4.
Gain of 32. Hightower straight ahead, gets inside the 10-yard line, or right around that mark, I should say, inside the 11-yard line. And he has been the workhorse, as Sean Payton said he would be. And again, he said Mark Ingram. Ingram's not known as a fumbler in his career. The former first-round pick out of Alabama, who has a touchdown on the ground and 2 receiving, but he did have a talk with Ingram. He said he understands it, and Ingram said, look, I got to hold on to the football if I want to play more. Second and 7. Catch made, but going nowhere. Brandon Cooks. Tank Carradine, who just came in for Harold, with the quick stop.
Great play by Tank Carradine. Put him in space on your fastest, quickest guy on the roster. Just a good tackle. He read it out to start. Sure tackle gets him on the ground. Sets up a 3rd and long.
They need to get inside the 5. 9 yards on 3rd down for Sean Payton and Drew Brees. There is time for Brees. Goes underneath. That's Kobe Fleener. And looks like he fell forward for the 1st down.
Drew Brees does such a good job scanning the football field. Goes in spread. 5 receivers out. Starts on the left. Comes all the way back to the right and finds Kobe Fleener. And that guy's just so good. So many receiving options. Almost doesn't matter who that he's throwing the football to. He's able to pick up the 1st down.
After going 0 for 3, Brees has hit on his last 4 passes against Jim O'Neill's defense from the 4-yard line. 1st and goal. A delay there and a handoff to Hightower, squirming over the top. It's a touchdown. It took him a moment. First touchdown of the season for Tim Hightower, carrying it into the end zone. And what a story for this 31-year-old running back who was out of football for a couple of years.
Well, they're the most efficient team in the red zone in football. They have the most touchdowns scored. But watch Jari Evans, 73 on that double team, just destroying the block. Get a block by Hill. He kind of tumbles over the defender, falls in for the touchdown.
And all scoring plays reviewed as you see the field communicator with his hands crossed in the teal hat. If he gives the thumbs up, that means the scoring is confirmed, and Hightower alertly knew where to go.
Yeah, I mean, that was a heck of an effort play, right? It looked like he was going to be down at about the 2-yard line, but no body part that I saw touched the ground other than his hand, which is allowed to, and he gets the ball over the line of game for the touchdown.
You saw right, and so do the officials on the field. Confirmed as his first rushing touchdown of this season. Will Lutz, the rookie kicker. NFC Special Teams Player of the Week for a couple of weeks this season already. Had 4 field goals last week. The extra point here after Hightower punches it in. Tim Hightower pedaling his way into the end zone. Well, sort of. Now, some people might think he's down the minute he falls on the defender here, Rondé, but his knee's not down.
Well, you talk about getting all the meat off the bone. That's getting all the meat off the bone right there, man. I thought he was down. Rolls over Bethea and into the end zone, and that's what you love about this kid. Just his effort. Everybody's excited. Everybody loves him on this football team. It's good to see him succeed. He's given his chance.
Will Lutz with the kickoff, and down by Dwan Harris after an 83-yard drive covering 10 plays for the Saints. Well, tonight the MLS playoffs continue. Second leg of the conference semifinals. New York City FC looks for a comeback against Toronto FC, and then Dallas taking on the Seattle Sounders. It's tonight on FS1. You can always watch it live on Fox Sports Go. '49ers on their first possession moved into field goal range. Penalties pushed them back. Sheldon Rankins, number 98, is on the field. His NFL debut for the Saints, the first-round draft pick from Louisville. Kaepernick keeps, throws. The receiver, Quentin Patton, was never looking.
That was a really good job by Jairus Byrd, to be honest with you, because that play had me looking the wrong direction, but had an eye on Colin Kaepernick, forced him to throw that football, and him and the receiver weren't on the same page.
It'll be 2nd and 10 with Harris the back.
Cleveland, 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 Cleveland. Ray, go.
Kaepernick to throw on 2nd down and caught. That's the tight end Vance McDonald up to the 40 for a first down.
Well, great catch by Vance McDonald, but Nate Stupar is inches away from picking this off and taking it to the end zone. Watch this linebacker right here, but the throw is so violent and good catch. First down for the 49ers.
Pick up a 14. The 49ers have had leads in the first half in 5 of their 6 losses. Again, trying to end a 6-game losing streak. They led here 3-0, but trail 7-3. On first down. Kaepernick with room to roam, and he'll take it. And near another first down, the helmet comes off near midfield. Darryl Tapp and Kenny Vaccaro. Vaccaro, the versatile safety, eventually getting to him.
Well, this is what Colin Kaepernick could do, and this is what you're on defense, is what you're paid to do. Try to stop this guy, because I think they're going to let him read just one side of the football field, and if nothing is there, he's just going to tuck it and run. It's a smart thing to do with a quarterback that's struggling throwing the football.
He did pick up 10 at a first down.
Hey, Race, go!
Extra pressure picked up and intercepted. Craig Robertson all the way inside the 25, and a flag comes in on the back end of the play.
That's going to be a horse collar tackle on Robertson. But, man, what a good play.
And Robertson.
After the interception, personal foul, horse collar tackle, deep offense, number 11. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Kaepernick throws the pick, Quinton Patton the penalty, and Robertson with his first interception of the season.
Right here for you guys, and everybody in the line of scrimmage. Watch him read Collins' eyes, going there the whole way, looked all the time to be a completion. What a fantastic play by Robertson, and the New Orleans Saints back in business in the red zone, and this is where they've thrived all year long.
Robertson, one of more than 30 free agents on this Saints roster. He had spent some time in Cleveland, playing more because of injuries to linebackers on this Saints team. So with a takeaway, Breeze comes right down the middle to Kobe Fleener, and he's knocked out around the 5-yard line.
Well, this is what San Francisco couldn't afford to do. Give the ball back to an explosive offense. Your defense is already reeling a little bit with some injuries and giving up a lot of points this year. And you just hope that Jim O'Neill's defense and these guys in red on the right side of your screen here can stand up and try to get a stop here.
Mark Ingram now in at running back. Ingram the carry. Teron Armstrong went to the locker room, Roddy, so they've moved Andres Pete over to left tackle, and Senio Calamete has moved into the left guard spot as the usual pushing and shoving around the goal line takes place.
Yeah, well, I'm going to continue to build on what's ailing the 49ers. You know, you give up a drive, that's one thing, but you get a turnover on the ensuing drive and put the offense in the red zone, the opposing offense in the red zone, and it's death by inches with these guys, and continue to put themselves in bad situations, and they're just not good enough to recover from it.
First and goal, Saints. Breeze, incomplete. Play never really developed to Michael Thomas, but give the defense a little credit on the coverage.
Yeah, great coverage there by Jimmy Ward, who came back from injury last week, and this was going to be a run play. And Drew Brees pulls out of it, tries to get the quick slant to his receiver, but you see 25 there, great on the line of scrimmage, gets his hand inside and knocks it away for the incompletion.
Second and goal. Breeze has to get rid of it. The 49ers had everything covered. Looked like he wanted to go in the area of Ingram after he faked the handoff to him.
Yeah, I think he did, Chris. Just a little swap action. But watch Brandon Cooks, too, coming to your screen on the bottom. You see him there, number 10. That was the second option, but well covered by this 49ers defense. And you have Michael Thomas around the back. He just doesn't have time to find him. Get to a third and short situation on the goal line. I think these 49ers can stand up, give their team a chance.
They convert better than 80% on third and short, and they convert again. Touchdown, Michael Thomas.
Well, this is the connection that's blossoming in New Orleans. The old guy, Drew Brees, and the rookie, Michael Thomas, and it's amazing to me how quickly this guy has gotten on the same page with his quarterback. This is just a back shoulder fade playing press man and stop balls out. Jimmy Ward has absolutely no chance. Touchdown Saints.
When Drew Brees talked about the evolution of this offense, pound away, and then it makes it easier for him to reach the end zone. Somehow that kick made it through from Will Lutz, the extra point, and there is a flag down.
Well, the offense it is what it is. Sean Payton and him been together for so many years.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, leverage, defense, number 55. The 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the ensuing kickoff. Timeout.
That call on a frustrated Ahmad Brooks, and so is Chip Kelly. Drew Brees, his 19th touchdown of the year, 4th for the rookie Michael Thomas. Craig Robertson, his 7th career interception, and it set up Drew Brees to get the ball to Michael Thomas on a 3rd and goal, and the Saints building a 14-3 advantage. They came in with the best passing offense of the NFL, among the highest scoring teams. Of course, the Falcons leading the way, and they lead the division as well. The kick through and touchback, so see how the 49ers respond. Well, let's talk about this Saints team. I think people, when they were 0-3, said, New Orleans, it's another year. Somehow, we know we have Drew Brees. You always have a shot. The defense has played better, even though they came in giving up 30 points a game.
I think the offense has really helped the defense by controlling the tempo of the game, controlling the clock. They've dominated time possession in their last couple of wins. It's really kept them off the field. And you have a lot of young guys on defense, Chris. It's hard to get them going and indoctrinated into this new system. But they've done that, and they've scored points, and it's been good for this team on 3 wins.
Harris carries and goes nowhere. Swarming defense of Dennis Allen, his first year as the full-time defensive coordinator, of course, was with the team last year. Remember, Dennis Allen told us, he said a 3-and-out is as good as a turnover against this 49er offense.
Especially if you get successive 3-and-outs, and with the turnover from Robertson, you get a 3-and-out here, and then yes, you got to be feeling good about what they're producing. But this 49ers offense has not had a lot of teeth. They're going to have to find a way to get this ball down the field and sustain some drives.
Wide open at the 30. Pass completed for a first down. Quentin Patton up to the 45. Well, that was one of the players. Chip Kelly said we have to get the ball in the hands of either Torrey Smith or Quentin Patton to make this offense go.
Well, the play action holds the 32, Kenny Vaccaro, and he was in primary coverage on Patton in the slot. Leaves him wide open for the big game.
Pickup of 20. Kaepernick open again, middle of the field. Vance McDonald inside the 35, Garrett Selleck with the catch. The backup to tight end Vance McDonald.
Oh, this is another good play here. Just play action. You'll see it come this way. Collins will come this way, but watch Vance McDonald run across the screen. This is a really good throw, Chris. Off, no platform. He's in the air to let it go. He's got the arm strength to do it. Nice completion. They got a drive going here now.
Selleck the catch after McDonald cleared the area. Pickup of 22, so back-to-back big gains for Kaepernick of this offense. Inside the 35 of the Saints. Harris carries and gets down inside the 30 as the first quarter is winding down. It'll be 2nd down 6, and the 49ers are going to let the clock run out. 49ers score first on a field goal. Drew Brees, remember their last 4 possessions against Seattle last week they scored upon. That was snapped in this game, but then they came out and have scored on their last 2 possessions and now have a 14-3 advantage. It's the end of the opening quarter in Santa Clara. Saints leading 14-3. Fox NFL Sunday returns in just a moment. Second quarter, Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, our Fox crew on a 2nd down inside the 30 of the Saints. Kaepernick keeps and brought down. It'll be 3rd down. Kenny Vaccaro coming up from his safety spot.
Well, this drive, we've seen a lot of misdirection by this 49er offense, and I think it's the way they have to try to attack the New Orleans Saints, because Colin Kaepernick is not going to be a guy that drops back, takes your traditional 3 or 5 step drops and delivers the football, but he is good out of the pocket because he's always a threat to run, and we've seen the athleticism enough to throw on the run as well and get some completion.
49ers trying to overcome a first quarter filled with a turnover and penalties.
Go!
On 3rd down and 6. Middle of the field is Torrey Smith. Fights to get near the first down marker. His first catch of the game. Jarvis Byrd making the tackle for the Saints.
Torrey Smith has got to get north and south here. Yes, he caught this ball in a lot of space, but on 3rd and 9 or 8 or whatever this was, he needs to find a way to get this extra yard.
And they're going to go for it on 4th and 1. He was close enough, as you said, Rondé, but just didn't have enough. Harris the back. He gets the carry and smothered, but that extra effort is going to be tough to call here. Well, that line's not official. It's just a guide for us. And that spot looks like he didn't get it.
They're going to take a measurement on this, but DeJuan Harris, really good effort. He's only 5'7", and there's 2 or 3 guys here that could have got him on the ground. Delvin Breaux, Cam Jordan, Sheldon Rankins. He slips underneath all of them, and it's a good effort. But Chris, I think he might just be half a ball short here.
49ers didn't hesitate to go on 4th and 1.
I think they had to. His offense is...
And they didn't get it.
His offense has been struggling.
Boy,
for so
Sean
long.
Payton, his defense, 2nd straight series, a takeaway and now a big stop on a 4th and 1. Saints have a 14-3 lead and take over on downs.
Fox is sponsored by Taco Bell's Rolled Chicken Tacos. By T-Mobile, switch to the network built for unlimited data. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Here in Northern California, Saints fans travel well. And that music, by the way, the Fox Sports theme, it was inspired by the original Batman movie musical score. Those are the executives at Fox who made the decision.
Who are those guys?
I kid because, you know, I care. And because I can. Tim Hightower is back at running back. Saints take over after their defense stopped the 49ers on 4th and short, and another tough run. Eli Harold, who's back in the game after the brief sideline concussion protocol, made the tackle. How about Hightower, his story? And Sean Payton said, you know, it was Bill Parcells years ago when he was in Miami who liked him coming out of Richmond when he was drafted. Then he had injuries and surgeries. The Saints signed him, brought him back. He was out of football a couple of years. Actually was on the Florida Black Tips, which is an experimental fall football league. Didn't get to play, but just wanted to play that badly, staying around football. Breeze caught by, that's Cooks at the 41 for a first down. Let's get another game break with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Chris. Indy on the road in Green Bay, already up 7-3. Andrew Luck pitches it to former 49er Frank Gore, who goes untouched. Colts up 14-3. Chris, Rondé, and Jen.
All right, thank you. An upset brewing there. The Lions knocked off the Vikings in Minnesota in overtime. The Giants defeated Philadelphia and Carson Wentz. Baltimore knocked off Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. That is Michael Thomas up near midfield.
Well, this is the same play that we saw down at the red zone, and Drew Brees, he's going to see some big box counts, 8-9 guys in the box, and Jim O'Neill is putting his corners on an island out here, and all they're doing is standing up, letting this big, powerful rookie get inside of Jimmy Ward, and they pick up 9 yards on that play.
It'll be 2nd and 1 after they got 9. Hightower gets the first down. 12 minutes remaining before the half. Let's check in down on the field with Jennifer.
Well, Chris, right now, both of the Armsteads in this game are questionable to return. The 49ers, Eric Armstead, you mentioned that left shoulder earlier. He's been working it on the sidelines, doing different drills and stretches consistently. Obviously, he's not giving up on this one. Teron Armstead for the Saints, meanwhile, it's a left leg. He's questionable. The feeling on the New Orleans sideline is hopefully he can get it taped up in return, Chris.
All right, thank you. 1st and 10 with Mark Ingram the back.
You ready?
Time for Breeze. Goes underneath to Mark Ingram.
Well, just methodical approach here. Short passing game, running game. This is what we've seen a lot of with the New Orleans Saints of late. And when you have a quarterback as efficient at finding checkdowns, it's easy to move the ball like this. And, you know, the 49ers are going to sit back and play some zone coverage. They're just going to get eaten up and down the field.
You just saw the play selection, Rondé. Last week it was pretty much 50-50 in the upset of Seattle run versus pass. And this will bring them closer to 50-50 as Ingram gets a first down around the 31-yard line.
You wonder with Mark Ingram, after having the back-to-back games with fumbles, and as a runner you get the ball and you know your opportunity is going to be limited because Tim Hightower's been running so well. If he's just thinking squeeze the ball, so far today his 2 carries, he's looked pretty good.
And Ingram said, you know, once it's on film that you fumble, guys start digging for it. It's even more digging.
Well, his 2 fumbles, both of them were trying to get extra yardage, which is, he's a guy that does that, right? He gets in the piles and he tries to get those extra yards, but teams know you can start digging at it and get it out. See if that happens today if this 49ers defense gets an opportunity.
11th carry for Hightower. Well, Sean Payton said he went back and looked, not that he had to do this, we're aware, but he said the years of the Saints' success in the playoffs and the Super Bowl, said we ran the ball. Yeah, we're a passing team, but we ran the ball with efficiency. And he said at some point, I want to control the game with the run.
Oh, for sure. Good teams run the football. That's not, there's no misnomer in that. Even though you have a quarterback that's, as you said in the open, as prolific as Drew Brees, you can turn around and control the clock by handing this ball off, keep your defense off the field. You're going to win a lot of football games.
Hightower again gets something there, down to about the 23-yard line.
And that's what you like about Hightower. This is what Sean Payton likes about Tim Hightower. All these little crease little runs that look like might be 1 or 2 yards. He finds a way to keep his legs churning and falling for, you know, 3 or 4 extra yards. And in this situation, he sets up instead of what could have been a 3rd and 5, it's 3rd and 2. Much more manageable for this offense.
Had over 100 yards last week. 6th time in his career he did that. He's at 46 yards now. It's 3rd and 2. They convert on these, and there's Hightower with a catch and carry for a first down.
Just bad eyes in the secondary. See the corner right there, get his eyes in the backfield. Doesn't see the running back right in front of him slipping into the flat. Jermaine Brock has got to be better than that.
Gain of 15, 1st and goal. Mark Ingram inside the 5. Just over 8 minutes to play here. I don't know how Reed came out of there with the football.
Well, that's what you're talking about. If you go back to the end of that play, he's on the ground. Obviously, the play is dead, but they're going to be raking at the football. And Mark Ingram's got to be aware of it.
Spotted at the 5-yard line. Tipped away and almost. There was a chance they could intercept. Kobe Fleener had his hands on it. Wilhoit had a chance on the deflection.
Well, really good.
And Ballore actually tipped the ball.
Good play by Ballore. Narrow window that Drew Brees is trying to get this ball in, but great technique there. Touches the ball out of the defender's hand, and Wilhoit, if you're a defender, you got to come up with that. Tips and overthrows. They had a chance to get off the field there, but it stands as 3rd and 5 in the red zone with another shot for Drew Brees.
5 out of 6 on 3rd down. 3rd and goal from the 5. Brees dumps the screen to Ingram, who spins around, gets to the goal line. Touchdown, Saints! Mark Ingram. His 3rd receiving touchdown of the season.
Well, that's got to feel good for Mark Ingram. Having to deal with the adversity of being benched last week, getting an opportunity here to make a play in the red zone. Drew Brees sets up a perfectly executed screen with some blockers out in front, and then the effort play by the running back gets into the end zone for the touchdown.
20 touchdown passes this season for Brees, his 2nd of the game. All scoring plays to be confirmed by the officiating crew. That drive, 76 yards, covering 12 plays and chewing up just over 6 minutes. I guess they're checking to make sure the knee wasn't down before the ball crossed the goal line. They'll take a closer look, but on the field, ruled touchdown Saints. Mark Ingram ruling on the field that he caught it and scored. Booth review to make sure. Jerome Boger, our referee.
After reviewing the play, the rule on the field stands as called. Touchdown.
Well, talked about the effort, and it's close. His knee goes down, but from this angle, I think it's pretty clear that that ball is over the goal line. And yes, good call by the officials, and they got it right when they went under the hood. You need to get some resistance from this 49ers defense right now. It's just straight trips to the red zone, 3 straight touchdowns, and their offense isn't able to answer. It's going to be a long day here, Chris.
Well, for the Saints, they're rolling in their first ever visit to this stadium.
On Fox is sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Sean Payton and Drew Brees, what a combo they've been in the history of this franchise. Remember, against Seattle, they scored on their last 6 drives, much of that field goals, but they were stopped early, and now 21 straight points, 3 straight touchdown drives, and ready to kick off with a 21-3 lead. It's Will Lutz. Shepard returning for the 49ers. All the way up near the 35-yard line, the best return we've seen today. This past week marked the 50th anniversary of New Orleans being awarded an NFL franchise. November 1st, 1966, Pete Rozelle, the commissioner, naming New Orleans at the time only the 16th franchise. John Meekum Jr. at age 26, the majority owner. Later that year, Tom Fears would be the first head coach of the franchise. Of course, Jim Mora and Jim Finks got them finally to some winning ways, and then Sean Payton and Drew Brees brought a Super Bowl to New Orleans. Super Bowl game played last year in this stadium as he fakes to Harris and throws to Jeremy Curley.
Another good tackle by Jairus Byrd. You know, there's Saints defense is playing a lot of 3 safety looks, and they're really been kind of interchangeable as I watch this film. McKinney Vaccaro is playing down in the box like a linebacker almost, and is covering up the slot receiver like a nickel. So it gives these 3 guys, 32-31, and the rookie Von Bell, an opportunity to make a lot of plays.
Kaepernick open. That's Garrett Selleck, and Selleck fighting to get past midfield.
Well, this is where they've been successful, right? Again, little misdirection, get Colin Kaepernick out of the pocket, let him use his athleticism to make a play. Good job by the tight end sitting down on like crossing zone and picked up the first down. See if they can keep this drive going. Desperately need some points.
Harris fighting hard, the free agent from Troy, who has carried the load for the 49ers all day today. We've seen Kaepernick run 3 times. Otherwise, it's been DeJuan Harris. Second down, 7.
Hey, go!
Kaepernick to Harris. There's room to run. He's got a first down. And down the sideline, Harris. Touchdown, 49ers!
How about that burst at the end of that run by DeJuan Harris? And this is just scat protection, right? They're blitzing. Back doesn't stay in the block. He makes himself available as a receiver. But watch this burst as he runs away from Jairus Byrd, while DeJuan Harris provided some lightning 2 weeks ago when they played Tampa. He does it again today for a long touchdown for the 49ers. They desperately needed a score there, and the young back pays dividends for him.
47-yarder for Harris, and Phil Dawson to get the 49ers to within 11. But what a play from the free agent Dajuan Harris.
For 49er running back Dajuan Harris, well, consider this. He has been on 8 different NFL teams when you count practice squads. One of the first times he was cut, his family told him to come on home, and he refused, took a job selling used cars in order to continue training because, as he told me, he knew this day would come, and he refused to go home a failure. Chris, certainly he is proving to be a successful bright spot for San Francisco today.
His first NFL touchdown catch. He had a couple on the ground and gets the 49ers back into this game in the second quarter as Bradley Pinion kicks off. Saints have not, look, he's pointing, stay in there, 25 yards, good field position. It's a story of 2 running backs, a career revival for Tim Hightower and maybe a career arrival for Dajuan Harris. UFC's legendary New York debut begins on FS1 with the biggest prelims card in UFC history. UFC 205 prelims live from Madison Square Garden Saturday on FS1. Under 6 minutes to play before the half. Chip Kelly's team striking, and home teams coming off the bye week this season undefeated. The Dolphins, Giants, and Ravens won today. Of course, the 49ers coming off their bye week here at home, hoping that stands. Ingram through a hole. Mark Ingram. Bethea, the only one to catch him. And Mark Ingram is going all the way for a Saints touchdown. 75 yards. That deserves a wow.
Big time wow, Chris.
What's wrong with these niggas, man?
Great blocking up front. And Mark Ingram is excited as they come right now. Watch this gap right through here. Mark Ingram gets some good blocking up front, and then Antoine Bethea has got to shoot his gun there. Get his Mark Ingram to make an adjustment or something so Eric Reed can make a tackle there, but he hesitates, and the speed of the runner distances for the touchdown. You talk about, I was going to come out and talk about which player on this 49ers defense needed to come make a play to help them get off the field right there, but instead, see a gash run for a big touchdown.
His second touchdown of the day. And I mean, as Will Lutz adds the extra point, the Saints hadn't had a run longer than 20 yards this year. He didn't want to let go of that football. No, that's not because of the fumbling problem, right? That's because it was a 75-yard score.
No, I mean, this is Mark Ingram at his best. This offensive line has done a great job today picking up the little yardage. But here, Antoine Bethea, he's got to shoot his gun. He's got to try to divert some of that speed. He's coming to him untouched, and he's just too fast for him. Big touchdown for the Saints.
A career best 75-yard touchdown run. Former Heisman Trophy winner who did not start today, but he and his coach had a chat after last week. It's all about winning, and that's what the Saints did last week, and that's what they're doing today.
And you see the two backs here. They've remained close through this, I guess, ordeal. If you're Mark Ingram, the opportunity for Tim Hightower, there's no animosity between these two. They know that together they're a great team, and we're seeing it on full display here today.
Ingram with 89 yards rushing. Remember, the 49ers have a string of 6 straight games allowing a 100-yard rusher. End zone, and Shepard's bringing it out again. He had a healthy return last time, and Shepard with another good return all the way up to the 33-yard line. I mentioned the Hightower-Harris running back day. Well, you have to throw Mark Ingram in the mix as well. Ingram on his 4th carry, already with a touchdown catch in the game, outruns the entire 49er defense.
No better way to make a statement to your fans, to your team that you're back and that you understand your problems than having a big play like that.
And it's Groundhog Day for the 49ers.
You're exactly right, Chris. At some point in every single game this year, they have just given up a big touchdown run. They're just not winning the battle up front. They need more penetrators. The linebackers need to be able to get over the top and scrape and make tackles. And this just has not happened at all for them.
Worst ranked offense in the NFL coming in, 32 out of 32 teams. Kaepernick behind, but the catch made by Garrett Selleck. And a gainer all the way to the 35 of the Saints. These two defenses, by the way, the only two in the NFL that are giving up an average of more than 30 points a game.
Well, I told you I thought Kaepernick was just going to be reading one side of the field. Watch him right here. Watch his eyes. There's a little fake handoff here up the middle. But he's looking for his tight end the whole way and really throws a good ball. Dart in there for a big game.
A pick up a 31. Harris, that same spot. This time he's run out of bounds. By the way, that Mark Ingram 75-yard run, second longest in Saints history. Deuce McAllister, who's the last 1,000-yard rusher for the Saints in their history, he had one of 76. Ingram catching his breath. Kaepernick still has it. There's a flag as he is brought down inside the 35 by Craig Robertson.
What's interesting, Dennis Allen, defensive coordinator in New Orleans, told us about these read option runs. Make the quarterback keep
Illegal
it.
block in the back. Offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
There's 88 right here. And Nate Stupar goes by him, but then when Kaepernick keeps it, pushes him in the back, and yes, that's a penalty. But back to that decision by Colin Kaepernick to keep it. Really, he does himself a favor by handing the football off, because the more times he takes it, the more hits he's going to have to endure. That's exactly what the New Orleans Saints are counting on.
Mike Davis with Harris in the backfield. Kaepernick to throw. Dumps it off to DeJuan Harris. Oh, what a hit, but he kept going.
This is DeJuan Harris.
Ran head on to B.W. Webb.
This is a study for me in how guys like DeJuan Harris can't make it in the league. Maybe it's his size, maybe the measurables, but take a listen to this hit that he puts on B.W. Webb. Shoulder pad to shoulder pad, and a low man wins. #1 axiom of football, right? And nobody's getting below little 5'7" DeJuan Harris.
He picked up 11.
Please reset the game clock to 4 minutes, 11 seconds. It never started on the line on the field. 4 minutes, 11 seconds on the game clock.
Third down for the 49ers. For Harris, his fourth team. I mentioned Jacksonville, Green Bay, Seattle. He was promoted from the practice squad in October, the 5th transaction of the season for him. Cut a couple of times and then re-added and having a career day. Pass behind the receiver. Curley couldn't get to it. It's fourth down. Sterling Moore on the coverage, and the Saints are glad to have him back with Delvin Breaux today.
Absolutely they are. They've had some struggles in the secondary. They were having to play Ken Crawley, a guy who they like but not ready to be on the field as much. But B.W. Webb starting and Delvin Breaux at the other corner, it gives Sterling Moore the opportunity to be the nickelback. He has a nice pass break up there.
Phil Dawson on to try a 48-yard field goal. He's hit today from 49. Now they passed up an early opportunity on 4th and 1 to try a long field goal. This one's sailing and through. It's now a 28-13 New Orleans lead. Well, an entertaining game. You never know what you're going to get. A home team out of a bye. The numbers are impressive so far this season. But the story of these running backs and Mark Ingram, competition, right? The coach says you're fumbling, you go to the bench, then you get your chance. He makes the most of it.
There's no better motivator, right, than somebody taking your job, and that's exactly what we're seeing. They can play off each other, Tim Hightower and Mark Ingram. No reason they can't both feature. And Sean Payton even said during the week that they will split the load. But this game, it'd be interesting to see how this turns out, because Colin Kaepernick is having quite a day throwing the football. 13 of 17 so far for 220 yards. And, you know, we're seeing some big production out of DeJuan Harris in the passing game, but they really haven't gotten that running game off the ground yet. And I think that's going to be important as this game wanes on, so they can help protect their defense. Chris, they're on the field too much, this defense for the San Francisco 49ers, and then they get past that 60 snap count, and I don't know when they'll do that. They turn into a bad unit.
Breeze anxious to hit the field. Kaepernick over 220 yards. He does have an interception and a touchdown, and he's run the ball 3 times in this game. Again, signaling down it, so the offense will take over. Cadet downs it in the end zone and out to the 25-yard line. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during Salute to Service games, the NFL donates its military nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, the USO and Wounded Warrior Project. You can help. Visit NFL.com/salute. Proud to say my father, late father, served in the U.S. Navy, was in the Normandy invasion, and he has a marker at the World War II Hall of Fame, which is in New Orleans, where you can visit if you get the chance. Breeze from the pocket, completes to Willie Snead, falling forward at the 33.
My grandfather served in the military, died in Vietnam, so yes.
We appreciate and want to thank all the men and women who serve in the military to allow us the freedom of expression and to enjoy the NFL. And they were nice enough to crew, our producer Mike Birch, director Michael Frank. My father, as a teenager, Rondé, was in the engine room at Normandy, Omaha Beach, D-Day, and spoke highly of those men he was side by side with, as Hightower moves up across the 40.
Just finding a lot of room off the right side of this offense, and got another injury here. Nick Bellore is down on the ground here in the backfield, and I swear we've had these guys in their successive games, and there's just so many injuries, so many times these linebackers, guys they really can't afford to lose, have had to take snaps off.
And unusual, because 2 weeks ago we had a similar problem, a rash of injuries, and Chip Kelly's teams, even going back to college, he likes everybody on that roster who's active to play, to get involved.
Well, they're going to have to, and Will Hoyt comes in at number 57 for Bellore here, and I'm just not sure what this injury was. I didn't really see it.
Well, he had a shoulder injury coming into the game, and that they were happy to have him back.
That looks like exactly what he's holding there is gingerly as he walks off the field, that right shoulder.
Eli Harold has returned, going through the concussion sideline protocol, but Eric Armstead remains out on that defensive line. And Michael Wilhoit will come in to take the spot of Nick Bellore. Just over 3 minutes to go. 49ers scored first on a field goal.
This Niners defense needs to stand up, Chris. Somebody on this unit got to make a play, slow down this Saints offense. They haven't put much pressure on Drew Brees. They haven't been able to stop the run. And see who it is on this defense going to make a play for him.
Mark Ingram. Each team has all 3 of their timeouts, and we'll have the 2-minute warning coming up here in just a bit. Mentioned that the 49ers had scored first, and Hightower answered with a touchdown. Breeze a couple of touchdown passes, and then the 75-yard run from Mark Ingram. 49ers have added field goals around a dazzling touchdown catch and carry from DeJuan Harris.
Never waiting. Easy. Chill on the gun. Ready. We're waiting.
Blitz coming. Picked up. Breeze's throw caught just across the 46 as Josh Hill pulls it in, and we have reached the 2-minute warning. The Saints leading the 49ers, and they're on the move. Great sound of Huey Lewis, 49er fan who's sung the national anthem here many times. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. And Huey Lewis and the news. The news is the Saints are 6 out of 7 on 3rd down.
Well, this is the most important 3rd down of the game so far for San Francisco. Going into the 2-minute, you know that Sean Payton and this offense wants to milk it down and get a last-second score. They need to get a stop right here.
They need 4. Breeze for Michael Thomas. And and no flag. Tremaine Brock was running with him. They get the stop. Saints will line up to punt.
Really good job by Tremaine Brock here. He had the matchup he wanted. It was one-on-one down the sideline. And when you get into this position as a defensive back, all you can do is not panic. He stays with the play, plays through his hands. Good job on the pass defense.
Only the second punt today from Morstead inside the 15. A fair catch and a flag. That was not a smart play. Maybe he just didn't see the fair catch. Brian Dixon, who's on the roster for good special teams play.
That's clear fair catch signal. I don't know if Brian Dixon didn't have his head up to see it.
Personal foul, fair catch interference, kicking team number 20, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Sean Payton on the sidelines ripping Harris.
I don't mean to chuckle, but it's
just it's just a foolish penalty, and I don't know what he saw or did not see, but sets up the 49ers in even better field position. And this is as important as that stop was, this is an even more important opportunity on offense for Colin Kaepernick in this offense. They need to go down here and put points on the board, get closer, because they get the ball out of the half. See what they're able to do here in this 2-minute situation. Been really good moving around in the pocket. Let's see if they continue with that.
Handoff Harris, scorched through, but tackled before he got past the 35-yard line. 49ers, a minute and a half to go, all 3 timeouts. They want to make sure that they don't give the ball back to the Saints, because they'll get the ball to start the second half.
I think that's why we'll see a little bit more patient approach here on offense from the 49ers.
Harris into a crowd and shoved backwards, and an ankle tackle, and a good one by Cameron Jordan, who's been one of the steadiest defenders for the Saints this year. And the Saints will use a timeout, hoping to get the ball back here. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
Sit still for the Visa halftime. The Packers try to put the freeze on the Colts in Green Bay, while the Chargers try to stiff arm the Titans. Don't move. Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jay Glazer will join me for the Visa halftime.
That's that trendy mannequin thing. Like that ice bucket challenge, and that was for charity. I'm not sure why the statuesque mannequin movement. That's tough to do.
I think everybody's doing what Howie. Everybody's doing what Howie wanted to do.
Trendy sheep following the herd. 3rd down and 3. Kaepernick on target for a first down. Vance McDonald down the sideline. Can anybody catch him? No, it's a 49er touchdown. "65 yards.
I don't know, Chris. Are we seeing the reemergence of Colin Kaepernick? He's getting some help from his receivers. An easy read for him. The in and out route by McDonald, and watch the burst by the tight end here as well. We saw it on DeJuan Harris's touchdown. McDonald shows he's got speed to burn on a long touchdown as well, and just the play that these 49ers need going into halftime.
Dennis Allen shocked as the 49ers expose a lack of speed, or at least getting to the ball carrier on that Saint defense. And the extra point is good. Some big plays today for Chip Kelly of the 49er offense. He said Vance McDonald was a guy, along with Smith and Quentin Patton, who could help the offense go. And for Kaepernick, this is his best game, over 280 yards and 2 touchdowns, since he had 340 when he was pulled in October of 2015 and benched against Baltimore.
Well, I got to tell you, he's getting a lot of help from his receivers. Obviously, DeJuan Harris on the 1 touchdown, McDonald there, but it's the short, controlled passing game. There's nothing complicated about what they're doing. You're going to see McDonald run. He's on one-on-one matchup, the in and the out, and Kenny Vaccaro or Robertson, one of those 2 guys is supposed to have him. There's a confusion there. but he's eyeing his guy. He's not trying to survey the entire field. He's looking for one receiver. He finds him. He wins his individual matchup, and they scored another long touchdown.
And a seismic shift because the Saints used the timeout on the 3rd down to try and force San Francisco to stop and punt so they would get the ball back. And the big play for the 49ers, and look at those total yards, outgaining the Saints but trailing on the scoreboard. Cadet from his own 2-yard line. And Travaris Cadet gets up across the 20-yard line. I think this is what they were talking about with that trendy mannequin thing.
I'm trying to stay still.
You're not supposed to move your mouth. If I make you laugh, I can't do it either. But give them credit back in the studio. You always said there were a bunch of stiffs back there, right?
They have years of football underneath them. That's why they can't move. I mean, have you seen Michael Strahan's fingers?
A talented group. Stay tuned for the Visa halftime report with the guys of the #1 pregame show of the NFL every Sunday on Fox with Terry, Jimmy, Howie, Michael, Kurt Menefee. Underneath Breeze to Cadet, brought down at the 25. Eric Reed on the stop. Clock running here. 2 timeouts for the Saints.
Well, if you're New Orleans, you got to be in somewhat shock right now with this offense of the 49ers have been able to do to you. And Drew Brees is going to take this opportunity to try to steal some points here at the end of the game. See if he can do it with 35 seconds left on the clock here.
Nick Bellore is back in on defense for the 49ers. 2nd down, 6. Breeze, middle of the field open. Kobe Fleener inside the 48 of San Francisco, and the Saints will use a timeout. They'll have 1 left with 22 seconds.
Well, they try to dial up a blitz here, and it leaves Antoine Bethea on Kobe Fleener. He's just giving him too much space. Drew Brees, ever the great quarterback that he is, picks up that matchup and makes a big completion to change the field position.
26-yard pickup. That Vance McDonald touchdown catch, he now has the 2 longest 49er receptions of the year. That was a 65-yard touchdown. Remember, he had a 75-yard touchdown against the Carolina Panthers in week 2.
Well, Drew Brees told us yesterday, Chris, that he's not going to be deceived by the 49ers record. Right, they've done some good things. They haven't stopped a lot of people on defense, but their offense is coming to life. And we know the last time they were here was a shootout. Looks like that's what we're looking at today as well.
Pressure is picked up, middle of the field, tipped away. He's trying to go to Willie Snead. And a nice play by Brock, who's having a pretty good game back there.
Yeah, he had a step on. Willie Snead had a step on Tremaine Brock, but good play on the pass defense.
At the 49-yard line of the 49ers. Sean Payton watching this game. At one point it was 28-10. It's now an 8-point lead. Sideline is there for Cooks, and Brandon Cooks steps out of bounds around the 32. Right now you're looking at the range of a 49-yard field goal, but there's still a timeout and 13 seconds for the Saints.
Well, they're going to give him a lot of space, and Brandon Cooks is a guy that can really push himself down the field. They don't want to give up anything down, over the top of this defense, and you're going to see some of these shorter underneath completions. They're just going to let them allow them, and I think they're going to surrender the field goal opportunity here if you're the San Francisco 49ers defense. Watch this matchup at the top of your screen. It's Michael Thomas and Tremaine Brock.
Pass caught by Willie Snead, and he goes out of bounds. What a grab and throw.
Well, Willie Snead is the guy that's been doing all the dirty work for this team. When they need big catches, it's this guy, and this is that same route we saw earlier. It's just a sail. The guy stops short in the flat, gives that inside receiver all that room to run to the sideline, and that's a tough play for a defender to make when you have that much room to throw in that football.
Just 8 seconds remain, but Sean Payton still has the timeout after a gain of 19. Breeze nearing the 200-yard passing mark.
Well, they've executed perfectly on this drive, and don't be surprised if they try to go for the jugular here and score.
Extra pressure is picked up, and Breeze gets rid of it wisely, and there's a flag down with 4 seconds remaining.
I don't know that this is a bad penalty here, Chris. If you watch the top of this screen here,
Sean Payton wants to know his options, but the field goal unit and rookie Will Lutz.
Multiple fouls on the play, all against the defense. Holding, defense, number 25. That foul is declined. Holding, defense, number 27. That penalty is declined. Holding, defense, number 35 is accepted. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, hey, this is brilliant to me, right? Intentional holds all across the board, all of them. Look, clock. You don't get to put time back on the clock. You don't get to put time back on the clock with these receivers. So 4 seconds runs off. They have to put their field goal unit on the field. It's one way to do it.
We're gonna have a timeout. 49ers look like Dancing with the Stars rehearsals. Remember the Saints 49ers NFC playoff game 2011 season. Drew Brees, Alex Smith combining for over 760 yards and 8 touchdowns. The game had 4 lead changes in the final 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Alex Smith with a touchdown pass to Vernon Davis, who's now a Redskin, with 9 seconds left, gave the 49ers a 36-32 victory in their first playoff win since 2012.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns in the last 2.5 minutes. That's insane. That was a great football game.
Will Lutz, who was so clutch last week in the beating of the Seahawks for this Saints team, from 26 yards, he nails this one to make it an 11-point New Orleans advantage. Boy, the Saints have been playing some of those cliff-hanging, pulsating kind of games lately. It's not over until the final few minutes. We have a half to go. The NFL on Fox continues with a Visa halftime report. Let's head to Kurt Menefee and the guys. Saints with an 11-point lead, getting ready to kick off to San Francisco. Today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan, and 51 combined points, most first half points in the NFL this year. And that was today's excitement, brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Mark Ingram with a couple of touchdowns, nearing the 100-yard rushing mark, and Colin Kaepernick with a couple of touchdown passes. At one point, an 18-point Saints lead, down to 11. They got a field goal right before the half. And Will Lutz starting the second half, driving this towards the end zone. And it's Ja'Cory Shepherd, who's had a good day returning. They've been looking for a returner all season long, and he's done the best, bringing it out up across the 30-yard line. Well, it's been a very entertaining game. A 1-6 team coming off a bye, a Saints team that's won 3 out of their last 4. Drew Brees, a couple of touchdown passes, but Colin Kaepernick this week with a 6-game losing streak, when he was asked about the state of the 49ers, is the state of the team is we have to win.
Well, the state of the team was that they weren't doing anything good on offense. Colin Kaepernick is, I don't know who this guy is, because before this he was completing less than 50% of his throws. Today he only has 4 incompletions, but this has been exciting. We have 3 plays over 75 yards already in this football game, and I got to tell you, something went on in the bye week between Chip Kelly and Colin Kaepernick, because he is executing at a level we haven't seen in quite a while.
That pass to Quentin Patton is complete. Kaepernick celebrated his 29th birthday on Thursday. Let's head down to the field. Good enough for the first down, and check in with Jennifer.
Well, Chris, Sean Payton sees 3 problems with his defense in this game. They're turning loose receivers. They're not getting enough pressure in Colin Kaepernick's face. And then he says, third, they can't do anything about it. Too many core special teamers having to start on defense. Meanwhile, Chip Kelly says that he is extremely proud of how his offense has responded. He challenged them to get this passing game going. And as you and Rondé mentioned, they have responded and done that.
DeJuan Harris gets down inside the 40. We have not had a quarterback sack today, and Harris doing his part with a touchdown catch and carry, and now a strong run for San Francisco of 19 yards.
Well, really haven't seen much out of the run game, but watch the two pullers, the center and the right tackle, open up some lanes for DeJuan Harris. And you know what? You're going to have long hair in this league. You're going to get tackled by it.
That is legal, to tackle by the hair. Kaepernick gets rid of it. It'll be second down.
You know, but what we have seen is Colin Kaepernick really emerge as a thrower. A lot of these short underneath, you know, intermediate type throws, he's really thriving today. His receivers have done a good job. Receivers and tight end have done a good job for him. See if we see more of that here in the second half.
DeJuan Harris averaging 5 yards a carry, also has 4 catches with a touchdown. Into the crowd goes Mike Davis, and inside the 35-yard line. Need to get to the 28 for a first down. Let's take another look at the tackle by the hair.
Kenny Vaccaro.
Why don't they tuck that up under the helmet just for the game?
You know what? I've been bald since I was 21. I don't know.
You don't have to worry about that.
Worry about it. He's like, hey, man, cut your dreads, bro. Get a little chuckle out of it.
Vaccaro, maybe the Saints defensive MVP of this team in the first half of the season. Very versatile safety. Davis remains the back. Third down at 6. Kaepernick's throw caught by Jeremy Curley. First down. Kaepernick is getting all day to throw the football.
I mean, again, who is this guy? He looks like the Kaepernick from a couple of years ago all of a sudden. And I got to believe, Chris, that bye week did wonders for him in this offense. They've on the same page with his receivers all of a sudden, and he's throwing some really good footballs today.
That was a 17-yard gain. He's over 300 yards passing. And is going for more. Open inside the 10. Mike Davis down to the 8.
Well, you know, you watch Drew Brees play football, and he relies so much on his check down, and it's exactly what Colin Kaepernick does here. His eyes are down the field looking for releasers into the end zone, but you know what? A completion is a completion. You know you're going to get 3 or 4 yards out of it. Good positive play on first down.
94. Hey, Rays, go!
Mike Davis for the first down to the goal line. Ball came out at the end, and it looks like the Saints got to it. And I don't think they ruled him down yet. He was short of the goal line. And the Saints have the football. Davis, who didn't carry in the first half, it was all Kaepernick and Harris, loses the handle on this one.
Well, it's Nate Stupar coming in late on this tackle. And Mike Davis runs over Jarris Byrd, but Stupar coming to the party. Watch his right hand get on this ball right there. Out, fumble, turnover.
Stupar, who was signed originally for special teams play, but has contributed on downs as a linebacker with another big play. Had a big one last week. Yeah, he caused the fumble and recovered it.
That's a crushing blow for the 49ers. Offense had marched down the field, had some really good completions, some nice runs, and Mike Davis has got to control the football there.
Well, you wonder if they just didn't outthink themselves the way Harris and Kaepernick were running with the football. Turnover, second one of the game for the 49ers, as John Kuhn, the fullback, carries to try and get him out of the hole.
Well, you start the half with the way they did it. I mean, they finished with some points on the board in the first half, and then you get the ball out, you move all the way down the field, and Mike Davis, he's just got to hold on to that football. This is a team that's not good enough, Chris, to overcome these type of situations. And good thing is you're in a backed up situation. If they're able to keep them down here, they'll have another opportunity. But, man, for all intents, I thought that was going to be points on the board for San Francisco.
Breeze from his own end zone with plenty of time. Can't find anybody, and he'll keep and go out of bounds. The coverage was good all the way around. Gerald Hodges ran him out.
Well, it sets up a third and long now on defense. And this situation, I don't know that they'll try to play man-to-man on these receivers because you know how explosive they could be, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them blitz a quarterback right here. Make Drew Brees uncomfortable. I'm sorry, partner. Make him get rid of the ball quick, get up and make a tackle, and you're off the field.
That was the first sack of the game. They got credit for that. 3rd and 7. Breeze to throw. Middle of the field. That's Josh Hill, but that's not enough for the first down, and Eric Reed was right there with him, so it's the punting unit for the Saints.
Well, they forced him to punt, and that's all you want to do. You get in a sudden change situation on defense. All you can ask of your team is to get back off the field, and you got a backed up punt now, which usually gives you favorable field position, but good job by this 49ers unit getting off the field when they needed to there.
Morstead came in leading the league in gross punting average, over 50 yards a boot. Today hasn't been used much. Jeremy Curley, his 3rd punt, and Curley has room for the return, but tripped up around the 43-yard line. Special teams play. Jake Lampman makes a good tackle, the free agent receiver. 49ers have the football again, trailing by 11.
Sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Burger King. Now get 3 large pancakes for only 89 cents. Only at Burger King. And by Fiat.
First half of the 49ers from their own 43-yard line. Harris is back in with a big hold. DeJuan Harris brought down at the 41 by Jarris Byrd, or he might still be running.
If DeJuan Harris is showing a lot of value here as a cutback runner, so quick in the hole and just explosive.
Pass is caught. That's Torrey Smith for a first down.
Well, this is their bread and butter play. He's just going to come in here. Collins going to take it like he's going to, or fake it like he's going to go with it. And look at Joe Staley right there on the double team, pushing him onto his center. And then he goes up and gets on Robertson and creates a nice running lane.
Picked up 16. That pass play to Smith. Good for 13. 49ers moving again. A late rush. Pass off the fingertips. It was delivered to Garrett Selleck, but he couldn't hold it.
Well, you might be wondering, we saw a blitz right there, Kenny Vaccaro off the corner, why they're not rushing him. It's because they respect Collins' ability to get out of the pocket, and we've seen it all day today. Him moving around in the pocket, the misdirection some, him scrambling, finding throwing lanes. It's creating a lot of problems for the Saints defense today.
The Saints defense only 10 sacks this season. They only had 3 interceptions coming in. They grabbed one early when Craig Robertson set up a score with a pick of Kaepernick.
What is it, Monday? Hey, go! Double to go! Got him.
Timeout called before the flag. I think they were trying to avoid the penalty. The 49ers needed to use it, and they did to avoid any yardage marked off. Overall pick in the NFL draft, a fibula injury in the preseason and training camp. Today his first game.
Yeah, big day in this young man's life. He's a difference maker up front. Hasn't been very productive so far today, but we'll give him a pass, having not played first part of the season. But see if he gets some disruption going later in this football game.
Second down 10 after the 49er timeout. That could come up big later in a tight game. They have 2 remaining. Kaepernick from the pocket behind Torrey Smith. He had room to run had that ball been delivered.
Well, you can tell the Saints defense has decided to get after Colin Kaepernick now. This is the second time in successive plays where you've seen an all-out kind of blitz, and Colin Kaepernick hasn't been able to hit on his target.
Nick Fairley, who leads the Saints with 3.5 sacks, did get the pressure on. This is the 6th 300-yard passing game of Kaepernick's career. On third down, a low throw and a poor throw to Quentin Patton. It's 4th down.
And that's where Colin Kaepernick has been struggling. Some of these timing throws, the ones that look like they should be easy completions, just hasn't been able to make those in his first 3 starts. And it gets him off the field here. We'll see Phil Dawson, another opportunity to take some points here.
And the 49ers, who came in today with more punts than any team in the league, have not punted today. Lining up now for a field goal. Phil Dawson has been good twice today, and they've been long distance. This will be 46. can count on Phil. Dawson delivers. And it's back to an 8-point New Orleans lead. You're watching the NFL on Fox. Saints and 49ers, Week 9.
Sponsored by Verizon. Join a better network because better matters.
49er defense on the spot. They have been all day. Trying to hold down the Saints, who have a 31-23 lead. Bradley Pinion, the punter, continuing to do the kicking off. And look at that, almost 800 combined total yards. We're only 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Your grateful nation is dedicated to the support of U.S. combat veterans and their families as they transition from the military to civilian life. Their focus is to serve the special operations community who have faced combat and high-risk missions. In the background, you see the 49ers in the stadium here. They have their Heroes Museum and Hall of Fame for those who have contributed above and beyond over the years. Joe Perry, 49er fullback in the Navy. Ed DeBartolo Sr., Army Corps of Engineers. We thank all those who have served our country and are currently serving. Breeze on first down, completes. And up across the 20, Brandon Coleman. It's his first catch of the day. Breeze is over 200 yards passing. Ball spotted at the 21-yard line. And Mark Ingram is the running back. Hightower started. Ingram the carry. Ingram the first down, and there he goes. Tripped up at the 40. Eric Reed may have saved another Mark Ingram touchdown, and that should put him over 100 yards.
Well, it's clear that his demotion has served to motivate Mark Ingram. Just a good, patient run, taking his time. Yards after contact have been there all day, but really good job again. Like Jari Evans up front. You see the block by the wide receiver, sprung him for some extra yardage there as well.
A gain of 19 as Ingram gets the football again. Significant, and 49er fans don't want to hear about this, but it's the 7th straight game that the San Francisco defense has allowed a 100-yard rusher, and that's the first time that's happened in the history of the NFL.
I know they're missing Eric Armstead, who's on the sideline getting worked on still, but doesn't look to be back in this game. But yes, they just continue to get run down as the game wears on, and they're going to have to find a way to stop this running game because New Orleans has been in this spot before. They know how to control a football game.
2nd and 10. Pass is caught, but 2 49ers there right away to knock down Josh Hill.
And the question is, Chris, is whether or not the 49ers can hang. If this turns into a shootout, are they going to be able to hang with this high-scoring and explosive Saints offense? Big third down here, though. 3rd and long, you got exactly what you want on defense if you're Jim O'Neill. See if they try to heat up Drew Brees or if they sit back and play coverage like they did on that last 3rd down opportunity.
Need to get to midfield. Blitz coming. Picked up. Pass is caught. What a throw. And there's Willie Snead, Mr. Reliable, for the first down.
Every single time. Every time you need a big play on 3rd down, it's Willie Snead. And he's lined up in the backfield right here. So he's got to match up with the defender and Samad Brooks. Exactly what he wanted. Knew what he was going to get. First down. Tough play for an outside linebacker to make on a receiver out of the backfield.
In better health after that toe injury bothered him earlier in the season. Mark Ingram runs into a 49er wall across midfield. It's an interesting array of receivers. It seems like things can change, whether it's a Jimmy Graham or a Marcus Colston, but who's ever in there, Willie Snead, rookie Michael Thomas, Kobe Fleener. Drew Brees keeps putting up the numbers.
It doesn't matter because this offense is not so much predicated on matchup as as it is on what you do on defense. They're going to find a matchup, something that you do continually, and they're going to exploit it. Drew Brees is the best that I have ever seen do it.
After no gain, it's misting down on the field, making it slick, but held on. Brandon Cooks not good enough for the first, but it makes it third and manageable. And on 3rd and 3, there is no team better in the NFL than this Saints team.
Well, here's exactly what I was talking about here. They use this motion on offense to get 10, Brandon Cooks on 51, the linebacker. Mark Ingram was in the backfield, moved him outside. The corner adjusted out, so he knew he had 51 on 10. Quick throw, picks up yardage, makes this a very manageable 3rd and 2.
And when it's 3 or less, they're perfect today. 87%. By far the best in the NFL, and they do it again as Hightower reappears.
Again, running over to that right side of that offensive line. Jari Evans, Zach Strief just road grinding this 49ers front. And Eric Armstead is out, so Quentin Dowell is actually playing that defensive end, and they're just not winning the battle of attrition down there.
Yeah, Ron, I want to make that point because that's amazing. 3rd and 3 or less, right? The Saints, including today, they're perfect, but 88%. The league average is 61%.
That's ridiculous.
And for the year, that is impressive. Of course, 1st and down have to set you up, which is what they're doing as Hightower carries.
Well, this team is so good on 1st and 2nd down, whether it's running the ball or whether it's finding a quick, easy completion. And Drew Brees, you know, he's been in this offense for 162 games, I think it is, that they've been together. And so he can make checks at the line of scrimmage. He actually told us that, you know, with the way that they're running the offense now, sometimes he just got to play it. Just turn around and hand the football off. Know that it's going to get positive yards. But he's such a master at the line of scrimmage. You hear him changing the play, and they're succeeding early here.
That's Mark Ingram. If he gets a block, he does not, as the 49ers were in on that. We have Ronald Blair, the rookie, the 5th-round draft pick, some credit as there's a flag down. Saints may have interfered.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 60. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
That's on center. Max Unger, who got the game ball, the former Seahawk, last week when they beat Seattle. He's saying, why me? He said, why not flag the other guy?
Yeah. Well, I think there was 2 of them, and Max Unger, you see him coming into the picture here, and this play was really well sniffed out by the 49ers. I mean, that's very clear that he was the guilty party. I don't know why he's arguing.
Well, and you saw Sergio Calamete. He's in at left guard because Pete moved over to tackle. Armstead remains out for the Saints. Pass is caught by Michael Thomas, who slips a tackle and gets another yard or 2 before he is swarmed by the 49ers. Thomas came in as the team's leading receiver.
He's a big, talented dude, isn't he?
And didn't Sean Payton say at the line of scrimmage, when you try to line up against him, he's violent and physical. It's a burst.
Yeah, Sean told us that in practice on Fridays or Thursdays it is, he likes to get out there and challenge his receivers. No, it's just a walkthrough or whatever, but he said he was shocked with how strong Michael Thomas is at the point of attack, you know, using his hands to get off man-to-man coverage, and you see corners up in his face. He usually winning at the line of scrimmage.
Now 3rd and 11 from the 37 of the 49ers. Breeze, pass is caught but well covered and knocked loose. Is that a fumble? Rule incomplete. Kobe Fleener had it. Eric Reed knocked it out.
Well, good play by Eric Reed. Love this guy as a player. He's very versatile. He can do a lot of different things. I need him to make more plays on this defense, and he does a good job there, getting them off the field on 3rd down.
Will Lutz to line up for a field goal try. 3 minutes to go in the 3rd. This will be 55 yards. Now he's made from 57 in his brief 7-game career, 7.5 now. And not good. I know it's after the fact, but you could raise the issue of why try that field goal there, something we'll discuss. 4 misses from over 50 yards for Will Lutz on the field goal try. The 45-yard line is where this 49er offense takes over as Harris carries. How about going for a 55-yarder? It's misting your outdoors field position an issue if you miss.
Well, it's definitely a gamble by Sean Payton. I know he loves his kicker, and he's got a strong leg. I was down there watching him pop him through the field goals in pregame, and he has the ability to make that. But yes, with an offense that's surging, it's a little bit questionable.
Time for Kaepernick, but can he find any? They got him bottled up, and he's thrown down. It's a sack for the Saints, and give Cameron Jordan the credit.
Well, it was a stutter go to Torrey Smith, and I got to be honest, Colin Kaepernick should just let this thing go. It's one-on-one coverage. It's your receiver against their DB, and Torrey Smith getting all that money against a guy that's been on the street. I would have just let this thing go if I was Colin Kaepernick, but instead he pulls it down, he takes a sack, and New Orleans Saints get their 11th of the year.
A guy that's been on the street, you're harsh as a former defensive back. Now it's third down. Need to get to the 45 of the Saints. Pass thrown and way out of bounds and off the mark. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee.
All right, once down 16-0 on the road at San Diego. The Titans have come all the way back and then some. Marcus Mariota, 14-yard touchdown run, and Tennessee's on top for the first time today, 21-19. Chris, Rondé, and Jen.
Thanks, Kurt. The Chargers, like the Saints, been playing close games at the end. One-score finishes in the final moments. Bradley Pinion, his first punt of this game. Wobbly kick that bounces and down inside the 25-yard line. Chip Kelly and his quarterback missing an opportunity with great field position, so the missed field goal does not hurt the Saints, who take over on offense. All screen, stadium-sized content. You can watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Fans tuning into this one. An 8-point Saints lead, first down from their own 23. Tim Hightower gets tough yards just short of the 30-yard line. Well, the Saints moved the ball on their last possession. They just didn't come away with any points.
Well, this is the type of offense that I think Sean Payton wants to see here. You see the play selection. 25 runs there, and you turn around, hand the ball to Tim Hightower, watch him get these extra yardage after contact, and Sean Payton will tell you, when we control the game, control the clock, they win. They've been doing that lately. See if that's their MO here in this game.
8-minute advantage, time of possession. Hightower knocked down. It'll bring a third down. Quentin Dial, his fourth year from Alabama, making the play. Well, Drew Brees likely to throw as this third quarter winds down. He's hit 9 different receivers, over 230 yards through the air and a couple of touchdowns.
Well, they started fast on third downs, but the last couple, San Francisco has made some crucial stops, and they got an opportunity to do it right now. We haven't heard much from the outside linebackers here, Ahmad Brooks and Eli Harold. See if they're able to get after Drew Brees right here.
He's been sacked once. For Cooks, Brandon Cooks. He juggled but held on for a first down inside the 45 of the 49ers. A big play when they needed it most. Brees delivers.
His accuracy has always amazed me, and it's just he's 37. He's still very accurate. And you got the matchup you want. Brandon Cooks does a good job waiting for this ball to get to him. It's somewhat of a back shoulder throw, but when you're able to push the ball down the field on third and short, makes you a very good offense.
At the end of 3, it's a one-score game. The Saints hanging on in Northern California. Well, Phil Dawson, his team doesn't even have the football, but he came out to check the wind, the gauge, be ready. He's been perfect today just in case this comes down to a last-second field goal. First down, start of the fourth quarter. Brees open. That's John Kuhn, the fullback.
Consummate professional, right, Phil Dawson? I tell the story all the time how he beat me in college, University of Texas, West Virginia, on a 50-something yard field goal into the wind. So, you know, he's checking the field conditions, checking the wind down on the field. It comes down to it, could be big. That little information he just gleaned.
And the rookie Will Lutz on the other side for the Saints as Hightower carries inside the 35. That completion to Kuhn, that's now 10 different receivers caught a pass today from Drew Brees. And when he's gone to Brandon Cooks, every time they've connected. He's 5 for 5 targeting Cooks his array of receivers.
And look at that. Look at the distribution. That's amazing. How many people are on that list? 9. I can't even count that fast.
It's Kuhn on 3rd and short.
Guaranteed John Kuhn comes to the game. It's on the goal line, or he's got 4 touchdowns on the year. It's short yardage. They're going to turn around and hand the ball to him. Again, really good job. Jari Evans, Zach Strief on that right side of this offensive line, just pushing back Dial and Kent Dorsey getting the first down, or Glenn Dorsey, I'm sorry.
And now an 11-minute advantage time of possession. More importantly, the Saints the lead and want to get one more score at least in this 4th quarter to create a gap. Breeze hesitates for Michael Thomas, and it's juggled. He caught it, and he fell in the end zone for a touchdown, Saints.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's arrived. Michael Thomas, man, what a great catch, great concentration. Now, I don't know that Drew Brees had the confidence early in the year to throw this ball up to Michael Thomas, but he has emerged as his #1 receiver, and Tremaine Brock is actually in great position. Look at him. He's like, I cannot believe that he held onto this ball. I think it hits him in the back. Fantastic concentration. Big play touchdown for the New Orleans Saints.
Breeze with another touchdown pass, his 3rd of the game, 2nd to the rookie Michael Thomas. And now the extra point to make it 38-23. Michael Thomas, who practices hand yoga. And I'm not making that up. I'm sure that contributed to his touchdown catch.
Sponsored by Watch Dogs 2. Hack Everything. Available November 15th. Rated M for mature. And by Pfizer. Prevnar 13.
Michael Thomas, the 2nd-round pick from Ohio State, his first multi-touchdown game in his brief career. His Twitter handle is Can't Guard Mike, and Sean Payton had a fun tweet for him this week.
Brief career. How about burgeoning career? Yeah, we talked many times about the size of his hands, but you got to love what he's been putting on film here of late.
Entered the week leading all NFL rookies in catches and yardage. He's added to that with 2 scores today. Downing it in the end zone. Shepard again, 49er offense to the 25-yard line. Let's head down to the field and Jennifer.
Chris, Michael Thomas takes meticulous care of those large hands. He often catches balls without his gloves on full speed on the jugs machine to toughen him up. Then he gets hand massages, that hand yoga you talked about, and then he uses rice. He'll take buckets of rice and just squeeze the kernels, or fill up a water bottle and during meetings just squeeze that water bottle to work on his grip. Might sound weird, but if it works, how can you argue?
Breeze over 300 yards passing, and if he gets a 4th touchdown, he hits another milestone. But right now it's on the Saints defense as Kaepernick comes out to throw, and behind the receiver, Vance McDonald.
Chris, do you do vocal yoga?
I do. I practice. Well, you know, the crew makes fun of me, teases me because I practice pronunciations in the shower. So I don't want you to.
How do you exercise your?
That's not. Well, you know my hero Ron Burgundy, right from Anchorman. You have to, make sure you're enunciating so that you pronounce names properly. Ronde Barber, DeJuan Harris, Colin Kaepernick, incomplete. Again, going to McDonald.
Good play by Robertson over the middle there. And, this offense, when it's gotten away here the last couple of series of some of that movement we saw in the pocket with Colin Kaepernick, I think they got to get back to that. These throws are more difficult for Colin. Just the traditional drop back, hit your back foot, deliver. He doesn't do it as well. I think he's much better moving around in the pocket. And so far, the Saints has picked up on him.
6 straight misses on Kaepernick throws. It's the 4-man rush, but he overthrows Quentin Patton.
Oh, this
was open.
Yeah, this is reminding me a little bit of Buffalo when Colin Kaepernick got his first start. He came out in that game and was really hot. Was actually really hot 2 weeks ago when they played Tampa, and then just goes completely cold. 7 straight incompletions aren't going to get it done. You're not going to be able to keep pace with this New Orleans offense that is getting into gear.
And this Saints team that's getting into gear. A win today puts them at 500. They're staying on the heels of the Falcons, who have been outstanding this year, leaders of their division in the NFC South. And after an 0-3 start, promising for Saints fans, Bird slides with the punt catch inside the 25-yard line.
Tomorrow, we debate all of today's NFL action.
And I'll tell Skip why the Cowboys won't get to the Super Bowl.
Good luck with that. Undisputed, America's fastest growing sports show, 9:30 Eastern, FS1.
Drew Brees, his 101st 300-yard passing game today. 5th in his last 8 games, just to show you how good that is. The closest guy to him, Peyton Manning, who retired at 93 career 300-yard passing games. But running with Mark Ingram, who's loose again and gets up around the 38-yard line.
Well, Mark Ingram showing some great vision. And I saw this talk about patience earlier, man. Every time he runs the football, you're getting some big gash runs. And handling that demotion is probably the hardest thing a football player could do. Nobody wants it. He is a talented, very talented runner. But sometimes it helps you, and he has responded in kind today to his head coaches, trusting him to put him back on the field. He's having an outstanding day.
And you have to appreciate the way he and his coach spoke and how he's responded on the field after the back-to-back fumbles. We have an injured player, Eric Reed, down for the 49ers. We'll check on him with 12:42 to go in the 4th quarter.
Sponsored by Chevrolet. More 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand.
Jaquiski Tartt replaces Eric Reed in the secondary for the 49ers. On first down, Mark Ingram remains the back, 126 yards rushing. Brees throwing for Cooks, and incomplete.
With the lead, they're not scared to test him down the field. Jaquiski Tartt, comes on in the field. He throws it right at him. Really good job, though, staying in the fight here. Brandon Cooks looked like he was going to make an amazing catch. I wonder if he does hand yoga. Obviously not, because he dropped it, but good play by the safety.
Well, the Saints have won 3 games by a total of 9 points, so they want to try to create as much breathing room here as possible. Reed comes back in for the 49ers, and Mark Ingram has room to run. And he's got another first down up near midfield. Remember, the worst defense against the run, giving up an average of 185 yards on the ground.
Yeah, let's give some credit, though, where credit is due. This offensive line now is really working. Armstead is gone, so you got these 2 guys just really dominating up front. Look at the block by the center, Max Unger, on the middle linebacker, and this running game is just taking off right now.
Khalif Barnes was released off the roster. They plan to sign and bring him back to make room. Ingram carries again. Tough yards. It's a great 1-2 punch with Tim Hightower and Mark Ingram.
Well, you got a couple of fumbles. Watching Mark Ingram here protecting this football. 2 hands on him, makes the cut, but look at him. You are not ripping this thing out today, boys. Good job by the running back.
He's averaging almost 13 yards a carry. Hightower has carried the most 18 times for 68 yards and a touchdown. And here is Hightower with nowhere to go. Hightower was interesting after ball came out on the end. And the Saints alertly, I don't know if he was ruled down or not, but it looked like the Saints still came up with the football.
Oh, that play looked dead back at the point, and I think that's where they're throwing the ball back. They're saying he was down by contact.
Yeah, so Tim Lelito ended up with a recovery.
I think that's what you call irony, right?
Yes, fumbling is contagious.
Well, the guy that you gets replaced because of the fumbling comes in and puts the ball on the ground, but I think that he was down.
And you heard the whistle for whatever that's worth after he was down. So Hightower steps to the sideline on 3rd down.
Another big 3rd down here for this 49ers defense.
Play clock, timeout. Saints needed to use it or they would have been assessed a penalty.
Now, if we get to this Niners defense, they got to get a stop here. This game is 10 points. or 11 points, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, I can't even add. 15 points here.
A two-score game. We'll
game.
simplify it for you. A two-score game.
They need to get off the field here. That's what I meant to say.
Okay, I got you. With Rondé Barber, I'm Chris Myers, adding up the totals here. It's 38-23 in the fourth quarter, and the Saints facing a third down. Sean Payton, Jim O'Neill's defense has been up against it all day. And the timeout used before the clock expired. First time in the stadium for Drew Brees. He came in yesterday to kind of check it out and looked for the play clock. Completes on the run to Brandon Coleman. And Coleman gets a first down, hand fighting all the way inside the 30.
Try to blitz them, you playing with fire. And they get a little bit burnt here. Really good route set up by the New Orleans Saints. And you'll see that the receiver is going to come right over here. His defender is outside of that bunch formation. And this is a tendency that I think San Francisco has. New Orleans knew that they would get it in that situation, and they exploited for the first down.
A gain of 19. Ingram looking for a hole somewhere. Well, Chip Kelly said, I'm not in the excuses business when this week talked about injuries. The record, the franchise record for consecutive losses for the 49ers is 9. And Chip Kelly brings a 6-game losing skid into this game.
They've done some good things today, at least in the first half, but as this team continually struggles in the second half, you just got to wonder why. I ask the question every time I watch these guys on film, why in the second half are they not able to score points, and why does their defense start to wear down? It's just the number of snaps that they take, I think, is the answer there, Chris.
Ingram with another carry, bringing it third down. Let's check in again with Kurt Menefee.
All right, Tennessee at San Diego. Marcus Mariota scored the touchdown to put the Titans up, and then he fumbles the ball that may have put this thing away for the Chargers. Dwight Lowry, 36 yards on the return. Right now, 33-21 is the score as we start the fourth quarter.
A turning point in the Saints season was their crazy win in San Diego when Drew Brees was back for the first time. Incomplete, trying to go to Michael Thomas on third down.
Just a little miscommunication. I think Drew Brees wanted Michael Thomas to stop there and catch this little back shoulder sail route again that they've been running all day. Just a little miscommunication, and they're off the field. But going back to what I was mentioning about the San Francisco 49ers, Chris, their pitch count right now is 73 plays on defense, and that's just too many. You talk about excuses and not wanting to use them.
What's a good number to be on defense? 60?
With this crew, it's 60. With the injuries and just the ineffectiveness, they can't play this many snaps and expect to win a football game.
Will Lutz to add to the lead. I'm going to ask Rondé to add up the totals for us. Now, now that it's 41.
Plus 3, that's 18.
41-23. We had the most combined points in the first half of an NFL game this year in this game when it was 51. That 41-yard field goal gives Sean Payton and the Saints a more comfortable lead. And Drew Brees, by the way, said he has 3 touchdown passes. He's 1 away. If he gets 4 in this game, that'd be 450. One more touchdown pass would set the mark at 450 in his career, and only, of course, Marino and Favre have more. So we continue to talk about his great accomplishments at age 37 and still going strong.
Looks as good as ever. He told us, you asked him, he said earlier at some point that he could play till he's 45. Well, I mean, I believe it. The fundamentals that he maintains throughout his offseason and coming into the regular season is just amazing. Nobody else does it like that.
And with a running game that seems to be, and I know the complementary football is an expression you think can be phrased better, but that's really what the Saints are doing.
Yeah, they really are. And complementary football is, what you do on defense helps out what you do on offense and vice versa. And just being able to maintain drives, finding easy completions, and then running the football makes your defense play so much better, and that's been the case in their 3 wins this season.
Touchback. Quarterbacks who have thrown for 50,000 yards or more with one team. Brett Favre, Packers. Dan Marino, Dolphins. Tom Brady, and still adding to it, Peyton Manning, Colts. Of course, John Elway with the Broncos and Drew Brees with the Saints. He accomplished that earlier this year. It was week 6 against Carolina. And hoping to get the Saints to a 4-4 record and in the playoff hunt at the halfway point of the season. Patton has it for a first down up near the 44-yard line.
Well, there's a big boy throw by Colin Kaepernick there. Good timing on the route. He let it go on time. Patton runs a good route, hits him in stride. They pick up a big gainer.
And they hurry to the line without a huddle. Patton again brought down at midfield. Clock running. 8:20 and counting here in the fourth quarter.
Oh, they got to play fast, and they sometimes have been slow. And Chip Kelly said they've been playing slow because of the personnel that they have. But they got to get a giddy up going right now on offense.
Throwing on every down. Catch made by the tight end. He's shoved back. Vance McDonald. Good enough for the first down.
And with a 18-point lead, I can add. No, it's on the screen. It's easy to add up. 18 right there. You know, this Saints, yes, and this Saints defense is going to allow them to throw these balls underneath, come up and make tackles, and let this clock tick away on the 49ers.
Go!
Kaepernick out of the pocket. Will run and slide for a first down.
We haven't seen him get out of the pocket and scramble as much as I thought we would today. I know that New Orleans was really wary about him moving, but there's nothing down the field. He does the smart thing, not try to force this ball. He just always has this ability. His ability to put his foot in the ground, get vertical, and pick up some positive yards to get the first down.
Wide open, Quentin Patton. You know, there was talk at the trade deadline the Saints had inquired about Joe Hayden from the Browns. It didn't work out. Maybe the asking price too high. They did get Delvin Breaux back, but this secondary has been scorched for over 380 yards by Kaepernick today.
Delvin Breaux, who started the game, and we knew he was going to be on somewhat of a pitch count. He's out of the game now. Ken Crawley is in at corner with Sterling Moore and B.W. Webb.
Tipped in the air and dropped. Almost intercepted. He had his hands on it. Sterling Moore's the one who tipped it, and Webb's the one who almost had the pick.
Man, this thing was precariously close to being another interception, another takeaway, I should say, by the Saints defense. B.W. Webb had it in his hands, and Dennis Allen, God, this is one they can't afford to turn the ball over here. If they're going to get back in this football game, they need a score, and I think they need a touchdown, Chris.
And the Saints, who had only 3 interceptions coming into this game, had one earlier, along with a fumble takeaway. Plenty of offense today. Both of these defenses stretched to the limit. On second down. Flag down, batted down.
Outside. Defense, number 57. 5-yard penalty. Replay second down.
Chris McCain, reserve linebacker, was just added to the roster. Called for the penalty. Second down 5. 49ers threatening here with DeJuan Harris in the backfield. End zone throw just off the fingertips of Quentin Patton.
It's almost a great improvised throw and catch here. Quentin Patton was well covered, but Kaepernick stood in there, got this ball to him somehow, and Ken Crawley's been in this position before. He's sometimes missed out. Had a great catch on him by Kansas City, if you remember that game, but that was just a little bit overthrown.
Remember, the Saints lost their top 2 corners at the start of the regular season in the first 2 games.
Hey, check 18, check 18.
On third down, end zone throw for Kaepernick, and he overthrows Vance McDonald. It's 4th and 5. Well, you figure it's a 3-score game, so you're close enough to go for it or kick a field goal and try something. They're staying out on the field.
I think they got to attempt to go for this. Actually, Phil Dawson is walking to the other side of the field, and this offense is going to stay on. And you know, we finding it hard down here, the 49ers, just to get a completion. 3 successive throws, and there's Torrey Smith. I was wondering where he was on the sideline getting his back worked on. Find out what's wrong with him while he's out of this football game.
Rod Streeter is in, one of the receivers. Low snap, and the ball's loose. And the Saints are going to recover. Kenny Vaccaro.
Bad snap at the wrong time.
And it was Vaccaro who said, we need to get on a run. We win big and then blow it.
I mean, it hits his hands. He's got to catch it, yes, but that snap was not where you wanted it from Kilgore, and you needed to make a play here. They just self-destruct. Big old Rankins in his first game, tumbling after that ball. Good job by Kenny Vaccaro, because if 49ers would have recovered that past the line to gain, it would have been a first down.
Vaccaro, one of the defensive stars in the first half of the season for the Saints, and there's the 12th overall pick, Sheldon Rankins, in his first NFL game. Tim Hightower the back as the Saints take over. And Tim Hightower with tough running yards. And the clock continues to run under 6 minutes. He posted a picture after the 100-yard game against Seattle last week of drinking a tart cherry juice, and he said it helps him after a game reduce any kind of swelling or inflammation. These are the things you learn when you have time during the week.
I'm gonna have to try that this week.
All right, and you can work on that hand yoga too. All right, we have Nick Bellore headed over to the 49ers sideline as the Saints with the lead on the ball. Saints fans travel well, and when the Saints are winning, every day's Mardi Gras.
I'm glad you didn't comment on that first picture we saw.
I hesitated. Saints take over on offense after a 4th down failure and fumble.
Oh, Michael Frank, leave that alone. Goodness.
Well, Drew Brees said it, that the next challenge is how we handle success.
And it is, and this team obviously has learned to deal with adversity with the way they started the season. Sean Payton went into a long diatribe about how his son's team, Connor, had to deal with the same type of adversity in their season. But yeah, once you start winning and you're back in the playoff race, which it looks like they will be, they're going to have to learn how to deal with what they've done well here the last couple of games.
Hightower with the tart cherry juice and all, getting the first down. Nick Bellore did come back out on the field. And we talked about this guy's story with multiple surgeries, signed, re-signed, and in the preseason, last year, the team won 3 out of 4 when he came in and ran well. In the preseason, he ran over and tugged the elbow of Sean Payton and said, hey, I just want to thank you for giving me a second chance.
Yeah, another good story that he told us. And you just got to root for him, and really got to root for this combination of backs if you're a Saints fan. Tim Hightower, Mark Ingram, and a quarterback like Drew Brees, man, it's no question that they got a chance to go places this season.
Well, when you flew out here, Marcus Allen, the great running back, Raider-in-chief, but mostly Raiders, Sean Payton had him talk to his young running backs here.
Yeah, it was an interesting flight with Marcus, and Tim Brown was on that plane too. They were doing something else, but you know, somebody on the Saints had them come in and talk to these two runners, and whatever impression he left on either one of these guys or both is shown up today.
And the Raiders playing the Broncos, a big game in the Bay Area. The Broncos will be the Saints' next opponent in New Orleans. At the 4-minute mark, Hightower to carry again, almost 200 yards in the last couple of weeks. And the play selection, remember the 50-50, we talked about that. Sean Payton, you called it methodical, the approach. And the running game, of course, he always loves to throw the ball more than run it, but that's how good they've been.
Well, it works. In 161 games prior to this, and our stats did a good job. My producer found these. They've only balanced out 15 times in this existence between Drew Brees and Sean Payton, but 2 of those 15 have been in the last 4 weeks. So it's a clear identity change on this offense, and it's been beneficial to both sides of the football, as I continue to say.
Carolina beat the Rams 13-10. That final end affected teams in the division of each of these teams.
Well, if you're in New Orleans with
Timeout New Orleans, they're second. This is a 30-second timeout.
Well, if you're in New Orleans with looking up at Atlanta, who just beat Tampa Bay bad on Thursday night, this was a game that they had to come out here and win. And dealing with adversity is hard on the road. And you see the standings there. New Orleans 4-4, keeping pace with Atlanta with the game in hand. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out.
Key that they are 1-1 in the division for Sean Payton. You saw the Panthers, even with the victory in the division, the defending NFC champions, are 0-3. And that's one thing, Drew Brees, we can sit here and rattle off impressive numbers. I was talking to you on the ride into the game and earlier this week. If you talk about the Super Bowl era, the last 50 years, the top 5 quarterbacks, these are all debatable. Of course, you put Brady and Elway and Montana in there. And then it gets said, I think Brees has to be in that mix along with Favre and Marino, and he's still going.
I think he's amazing. Incredible 37-year-old still doing this.
Kuhn has it and falls down at the 30-yard line. And what else is interesting about Brees for his small frame, and maybe too small to play, but he has started 167 out of the possible 169 games. And so he's durable.
Well, he doesn't like to not play, and he doesn't want to see somebody else doing his job. I respect that more than anything.
Ready to punt the ball away. Morstead with Curley back to receive. Interesting day around the NFL. Some of the finals that have come in. The Lions upsetting the Vikings in Minnesota. Morstead's boot. Curley has it. And up across the 21-yard line. Dallas beats Cleveland. Cowboys are 7-1 and the Browns are winless. We have a flag down.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 29. 10-yard penalty. San Francisco keeps the ball. First down.
9th penalty on the 49ers, who, again, were the least penalized team coming into the game. At the NFC East today, the Giants beat the Eagles. Everybody in the NFC East had a winning record. And next week, you can start your Sunday with Fox NFL Kickoff, America's #1 pregame show. The Falcons and the Eagles, other regional action. And then the 49ers take on the Cardinals in America's Game of the Week, along with the Cowboys and Steelers. Coverage 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific on Fox. And the Cardinals coming off a bye week. They played in the NFC Championship game last year, and they're nothing but a 500 team at the moment, trying to figure things out.
Still struggling. They're struggling at quarterback too, Chris. Carson Palmer hasn't been the Carson Palmer that we saw the last 2 years.
Kaepernick to Garrett Selleck. Well, this will break the string unless the 49ers pull off a miracle here. Home teams this year coming off the bye had an 8-0 record, including those today. But San Francisco at home off the bye as Harris makes a nice catch. Ball came out at the end. Gets another turnover. Saints credit with a takeaway. And it looks like Ken Crowley has the football. Vaccaro may have caused it. Von Bell actually came up. Von Bell came up with the loose football.
Sorry, Chris. That was all Kenny Vaccaro. Swarm tackling. Get to the ball and then be violent on it. Watch Kenny Vaccaro rip this thing out before this runner is down. And man, this defense that has struggled at times is creating a bunch of turnovers today. Good job by Kenny Vaccaro. You talked about him being the MVP. We had him in our meeting this weekend, and he knows that this team has to play better on defense if they're going to win. They got some parts, but he is definitely one of them.
Dennis Allen's defense, a stretch but don't snap, keep him out of the end zone. 49ers came in averaging 20 points a game, as all turnovers are reviewed, just like scoring plays to be confirmed. Despite a Kaepernick day of nearly 400 passing yards, 49ers only put up 23.
4 turnovers. That's winning football on the road. Not that San Francisco was a formidable threat, really, but that's directly resulted in at least 3 scores, those 4 turnovers for the New Orleans Saints.
Mark Ingram inside the 15-yard line. Just keeps adding to his total, over 150 yards rushing today for him. Nearing the 2-minute warning, 1 timeout for each team. And the Saints in control of this one. After a high-scoring first half, New Orleans takes control in the second half. 2 minutes to play.
Sponsored by KFC's new $10 chicken share, a bucket for 2. KFC is finger licking good.
49er fans see that and think of the good old days. Those loyal fans that come out to see their team play in the midst of what will be a 7-game losing streak. Saints still knocking on the door.
I don't think they're trying to score here. They need a first down. They'll go into victory formation. But there were some good things from the 49ers on offense, I thought. Colin Kaepernick early in his game.
And Ingram gets the first down.
Yeah, it looked good, completing some passes. Ends up almost 400 yards passing on the day, but just wasn't enough. They weren't able to keep things going in the second half, and the defense, taking 80 plays now, just wore down under the pressure of this New Orleans offense.
Mentioned the Broncos will visit the Saints, who will go to 4-4. Then at Carolina, key in-division game for Sean Payton. They get Tampa Bay later in December. Sean Payton, who got that contract extension through 2020 prior to this season. And what a team he and Drew Brees have been.
Well, it's not lost on me and you, because we did their very first game of the season against Oakland, that they started 0-3 and have just continued to claw their way back behind Drew Brees and a much improved defense to get back to 500 today.
And for the 49ers and Chip Kelly in the division, they'll go to Arizona, then a tough one here against New England before a couple of road trips. As for the Saints, they have won now 4 of their last 5 games. And it seems as if the defense is improving. Obviously, the offense with the running game. And Sean Payton's team in the mix at the halfway point. Week 9, 8 games, 8 regular season games of this season. And Drew Brees continuing to guide New Orleans forward. Our producer, Mike Birch, director, Michael Frank, Mark Sosna, Rick Odioso, James Petralka providing us with stats and a lot more here in the booth. Tom Lynch, our technical producer, technical director, Ernest Bauer. Cody Novak is our broadcast associate. Tavis Strand, our associate director. We'll have more in a moment.